Hello, and welcome to another Moments with Michael. This time we're talking about shopping and running errands. So let me share my screen and we will get started. So I want to begin this presentation by talking about my first time taking my both of my children to the grocery store with me. I always took my daughter. I do just enjoy grocery shopping in general, but there came the time that I first needed to bring along my son, here about 6 months old, um, in the bucket. And I discovered once we got into the store that when I put him in the shopping cart, that left no room for my groceries. So I had to uh, dig in the diaper bag and find two pieces of fabric that I could use to tie two grocery carts together and create a double wide shopping cart. Thankfully, I think that the landscape of accessibility in shopping has improved in the last 8 years. So, preparation and planning, that's always been a big part of my life. Um, but at a time when I was sort of trying to decide my next career move, um, I got the idea to make custom grocery lists for specific stores. So um, I had seen blank lists online, but never ones really categorized by the aisle, the section of the store. So I made this document. And I've been using this list for the last 3 years. Every time I go shopping, I prefer to do my shopping at Walmart, um, for various reasons. But there it all is. And if I'm backtracking through that store, that means my list did not work. So being efficient and planning ahead has always been an important part of dealing with um, taking my Gabriel along for shopping trips. Um, as I said, I'm happy to say that grocery cart options have expanded over time. For a while, I was getting away with buckling him and his sister in the bench seat on the long carts inside the Walmart. And under the theme of things that last for a short time and then never work again, once he did get to the point where his fine motor control developed enough to where he could unbuckle those buckles, then that strategy was over. And the last time I remember taking him to the store, he was actually getting on the bottom of the cart and sticking his head out the back to where I was almost kicking him in the head while pushing the cart. So, I always try to give those caveats that I'm not offering solutions here, but rather strategies. And those strategies have expiration dates, unfortunately. So establishing clear expectations and rules has been important for us. Um, Back when he was very wiggly and wanting to get out of that cart and very dysregulated at the whole experience, I tried to call back to the reason for the trip. And I would say, like, Gabriel, we're here at the store because daddy has to get some wipes to clean up after you. And then after we're done this grocery store trip, we're going to go home and I'm going to make you a snack. So I'd always try to do, if we can finish the shopping, then we can go make a snack. Those if then statements have been pretty helpful in setting like the tone of what's going to happen, or rather the purpose of what's going to happen. And so I recall back to that. Utilizing visual supports and social stories. There's an excellent social story about shopping that, again, they're made to read aloud to the child at first and then transition to have the child read to you, but deceptively simple. And that they say, I can go shopping. I'm going to go shopping today for food. If I need lots of things, I might need a list. there may be lots of people in the grocery store, and the graphic is a lot of folks all packed together. And I think that's important too, because it kind of serves that function of front loading, or kind of cueing him in as to what the circumstances are going to be in the environment we're going to. And I think that's been helpful overall. Um, and those communication strategies, like communicating with Gabe as opposed to merely taking him along for the ride, um, has been helpful. In that it's been my observation that the majority of the time I see parents with small children in a store, I don't see the adults interacting with the children so much as they have the children along with them while the adults are engaged in the task of the shopping. And that's all well and good unless you need to involve your kids in order to keep them regulated and supporting the whole purpose of the visit. So I'll touch more on that in a little bit. Sensory considerations have also been a thing for us. There was a period of time where the fluorescent overhead lights in the store were bothering him, so we would wear a hat into the store. And also, under the category of strategies that work until they don't, I found that bringing the iPad in, keeping him still and watching something for 25 minutes while I went through the whole week shopping was amazing, until it stopped working. So I feel like it was less than a year that I got away with doing that before he would just put that iPad down, and he was so much more interested in trying to escape, or trying to run away or crawl out of the cart or something. So, sensory considerations are things that we've accommodated for, but again, they sometimes have a limited shelf life and you have to move on to something else. Now, going back to engaging the child as opposed to merely taking them along for the ride, I thought it was a wonderful feature, particularly of pre-pandemic grocery shopping, for stores to have the junior shopping carts, a shopper in training, and moreover, even play areas at the front of the store. I noticed that with the onset of the pandemic, those were covered in plastic and then disappeared. But as far as like allowing my kid to get his own stuff, the things that he wants in his grocery cart, a godsend of meaningful involvement in the process. So here's a little clip of my daughter doing the same.
Our customer in training is very happy.
What?
Huh?
So preparing for transitions has been something lately that we've really touched on, or focused on rather, off the subject of shopping and errand running. I tend to prepare Gabriel for transitions lately through the use of timers. And just this past weekend, I was giving him a haircut, which consists of him getting in a dry tub. And then I take the buzz clippers to his entire head, and then we vacuum it all up. Well, always inherent in this task is him asking, how much longer is this going to take? We're to the point where we can tolerate it fairly well, but we're always going to get, how much longer is this going to take? So my little strategy for this, as well as grocery shopping, because I do get that question in the shop, in the grocery store as well, like, how much longer are we going to be here? How long is this going to take? So if I know the haircut's going to take 6 minutes, I'll tell them it's going to take 9. Or if I know I can get my shopping done in 20 minutes, I might tell them it's going to take 25. That way that timer never runs out, and I can always say, oh, look, we finished ahead of time. Now I've got time to go home and make that snack. So just one little tiny trick that I'm using lately that seems to work pretty well. Also, along the lines of meaningful engagement and positive reinforcement, I love these visual shopping lists that have a picture accompanying every item on there. And there are many like this on the internet. You can swipe and download, print out. Um, but I really like it for two reasons. One, the visual accompaniment with the word, but also I can start to, when using this with Gabriel, try to foster his awareness of the layout of the store, its physical structure. So if you've noticed, even some adults get into the grocery store and they're kind of lost, kind of wander about aimlessly. But with something like this, I can say, Gabe, we've just got our onions. Can we get the bread right here? Nope, there's no bread around here. Where can we find the bread? Over by the bakery. So then we move over there. And can we find the orange juice by the bread? Nope. It's going to be with the other juices. And this kind of something that we talk through to kind of, again, foster awareness of these different parts of the store. I always want to encourage families to engage in self care meaningfully. Again, I was a major self care skeptic um, in my 20s and 30s because I thought self care, as pushed by an employer, was just a means to keep employees in line more so than it was a genuine attempt at wellness or promoting wellness. But just to take an example, again, not on the subject of grocery shopping, but 5 years ago, I remember almost being in tears talking to my son's therapist and asking her, Kelly, Gabriel gets up at 3:45 every morning and I have to go to work. How can we make this stop? But that gave way over a period of time to resignation. And so now he does still get up before 4 o'clock every morning. And at 4 o'clock every morning, he comes into that bedroom and says something like, "What's up?" Or, "Hey, mommy. Hey, daddy." And so now at every day at 4 o'clock, I get up and do some workout, resistance band training, some bionic gym in the living room, something while he's eating his breakfast. So I actually did lose a good bit of weight during the pandemic because I kind of resigned myself to this new pattern. But it's something that you have to kind of educate new people in your life about. Like when meeting other families, for instance, there was a guy in our neighborhood who wanted my daughter to come and play, or asked on behalf of his daughter that my daughter be able to go over and play at 7:15 at night. Well, I'm in bed by that time, and Gabriel is on his way to being asleep. So, like, we all have sort of adapted to that, and I had to, say, like, yeah, you can go over there, but just so you know, like, we're a pretty early family, and we're going to be up. Well, at least some of us are going to be up at 4 o'clock tomorrow. But I really encourage you to keep up the self care, because if we aren't there in health for our children, then who is? I always touch on this, but always seek out collaboration and support. Seek guidance from those healthcare providers, therapists, or support groups. You never know where that next great idea, that eureka idea, is going to be, that you can put into practice right away in your life that can make things a whole lot easier for you. So, with some of this in mind, thank you for checking this out. And I wish you the best of luck on all your shopping journeys.